Hello there, welcome to a little guide, tutorial, or how-to on the Frackin Universe item network, otherwise known as the Steambound imported thingamabobs. I'm being really clear on that. Anyway, this guide is going to cover the basics of using the item network and a couple of advanced features, but I'm going to leave more of the advanced stuff up to you. So mainly going to cover how to move a liquid into a generator or centrifuge, that kind of thing, but I'm leaving the other little bits up to you on how to get what's been done in this centrifuge out to your storage network, or if you want to do something with the items in there, then that's all going to be up to you. So I'll give you some hints and tips on where to look for that stuff, but basically it's up to you on that. So yeah. Anyway, without further ado, to craft it, go into your machining table. Oh, it's off the screen here. Machining table, and it's in the hammer. And to make this, you get it in your inventors table or like your upgrades of that as well. Machining table. So that's where you get that from. And you'll want the storage bridges, a bunch of these, one for each storage box container. So that includes generators or the spout or some other things like that. Other ones don't need it, but for the most part, you're going to need the storage bridge for each one. The item transference device is your hardworking main item of this mod. And anytime I use the term router, it's in reference to this. So the item transference device. It moves an item to another location, from one location to another location. Pump, pretty straightforward, just pumps liquids. And quarry is amazing. You can use this to dig out a planet. It extends by 20 units to the right, and it just continuously mines, and you just store the items that it grabs. It takes quite a while, and it won't work when you're not there. But that's a problem with Starbound itself, not with the mod, so nothing can really be done with that. Repeaters are useful to make your network nodes look prettier and not as complicated and not as silly. Spout is used to move a liquid that you may have gotten from a pump or that you put into storage into the world. So it actually places the water down. And you can make like waterfalls or that kind of thing with this. It's really nice and useful. And then the terminal is how you access your system. So when you have all of your storage stuff set up, the terminal will allow you to just pull whatever you want out of that. And keep in mind, this submod is getting updates and changes. So this guide will, for the most part, be accurate. Some of the terminology may change, and some of the items' locations may change, and some of the who knows what else may change. Some of the functionality may get an update or additions or subtractions, that kind of thing. And the reason why this thing is over here, the power station, is because in the screw tab over here, there's grabbers and the harvester beam gun turret. It's also available in your simple foraging table, and the upgraded foraging table has better grabber. This one here is not available over here. So, yeah. Same things, different location for them. So without further ado, let's actually get into it. So the simplest thing you'd probably want to do is store items and have a way to access them. So let's do the storing items bit first. We'll probably want a box to store them in, and every time you want a box to handle items, you need the bridge, and we're going to want a router, so pop the router down. And then of course we want some sort of a box, and I'm going to leave 1-2 spaces in between. That's because the bridge will find the nearest storage box, and I prefer to have no ambiguity for it to function. So we'll pop this here and here and here. And you know what? Let's pop down a bunch of these, just because they're here and they're ready to throw down. for you, one for you. I didn't grab them all. I thought I grabbed them all. There we go. All right. So now to wire, what you want to do is red to blue, and then red to blue, red to blue, red to blue, and you get the picture for each one of these. There we go. All right. Now I can throw maybe a storage box in the storage box. So I can put a storage box in my storage boxes. Where did that go? It went here. So keep in mind that this network does not care about organization. If you want this on an organized network, you're going to have to use prearranged items, like have an item in every slot. But when you pull things out, it won't care about those items. And let's actually show how to set up a pulling out part of this. There's one thing I want to note. You could attach the pullout to this storage part here, but in doing so, it will cause this network to constantly update and store items in itself over and over. It's possibly useful if you want to do this with like a way to compact all of your items down, but having it run constantly doing this is probably not a good idea. So I'm going to set it up as a separate network. So I drop another router, and where's the terminal? Terminal is right here. Pop this at somewhere accessible, easily located that you want to be able to get the items out from. And then, of course, all we have to do is wire this to each other, but right now is a good time to explain the repeater. So the repeater can be used to make your item networks look a little bit more organized. So right now you can see beforehand, everything was just going to here and then going to here. And if I did the same thing, then all of these would connect to all of these with lines, and there'd be lines all over, and it'd be super annoying. So right now we're going to go like this because you have to do that. And you can link this directly to the boxes and it would work. But if you want the repeater to do the multi ones, and if you want to make them pretty, which of course we want to make them look pretty, so like this to here, and now all of these reds need to get connected to the blues. And doing this with this one instead will clean that one up as well. There we go. Nice, quick, and easy, and you can see the large barrels in there. Could throw some other things in here in other locations. And now you can see them all popping up here. So if I take this barrel out and I take this barrel out, you see that they were in different locations. That's because the network really doesn't care. And if I throw it in as the same thing, it ends up in the same spot. So it might be useful to set up a second router and connect it to only turn on with like a certain amount of time, or a delayed switch or something else along those lines, in order to compact your storage network. But for normal use, you could just throw your items in your box here, just to get them out of your inventory, and then they end up in all your boxes up there. So it's nice and easy, simple way to store a lot of stuff. Another thing to keep in mind is that the item network only functions when it is in a loaded area. So the equivalent would be like a Minecraft chunk. As long as the area that you're in, and it's generally like what's on screen and what's around the screen, and then everything a certain amount of distance away is not actually loaded. If your storage network extends across these unloaded areas, it will not function in those areas. This is a problem with Starbound, not with the actual mod or submod, Frackin Universe and the item network, Steambound implementation stuff. So yeah. What else should we do? I guess we should do a little generator and store some water in the generator automatically. So of course you can use this to apply to a centrifuge, that kind of thing. So what we'll do is, Mr. Generator, do I have a generator? I thought I had a generator. I guess I need to make a generator. All right. Handy mod is the no crafting times mod. I recommend it. We have no location for this. I may or may not have cut here because I'm having problems with this generator. So, yeah. Okay. What we want is the generator down and a router and a pump. So the pump will start grabbing up some liquids from wherever you put it. And right now I'm just using a little thingy here to produce some water so that the pump just doesn't drain out everything. Don't need to worry about that. So we want to link up the pump to the router, and then you make sure the router is on the second slot, not the first one. Always the second one, not the first one. And over to here, router to the generator, and it starts storing the water automatically once a second. Nice, quick, and easy. You can do this, of course, but I recommend not doing that. I recommend linking the generator to a storage bridge, because the generator's nodes might have something else to them. It might deal with other things, like the blue node might turn it off and on, so you might not want something else connecting to that device directly. That's why I'm saying use the bridge on it. And this is going to be annoying, so let's pull the water out after disconnecting it. There we go. And one of the other things that I mentioned before is the advanced stuff. So when you're doing this into a centrifuge, that kind of thing, you'll probably want to store the items in certain spots. So with these, there's only one slot in each. But for the centrifuge, like the water pump is pretty easy. It's only got one, but the output, you might want to change them. So to change these, all you have to do is like add it in here, hit enter, or the little plus sign. So like this. So where you'd want to use this is your wiring going in uses one router, and it's basically set up as 1-to-1. I'll remove this, like this. So it'll take your input and put it into the first slot. And of course, if you want to filter, you can throw a filter in there with whatever you want to set it up as. So it would only send water into the first slot, into the centrifuge, and then you'd plop down a second router, and you'd want to probably set it up to input slots like 2, 3, 4, 5, that kind of thing. And then you could ignore the output slot, or depending on what you're doing, like if you're sending it to storage, then you could ignore the output slot. Or if you're sending it to another device or that kind of thing, then you'd probably want to set it to like output slot 1 or that kind of thing. But all of that stuff I can leave up to you to figure out, and it probably wouldn't be too difficult. It'd just be setting the item up and then checking where it goes, that kind of thing. So yeah, pretty easy, pretty simple, pretty straightforward. Let's turn both of those off because they're annoying as well. All right, so this is all of these ones down. So it's a simple network for retrieving your items, simple network for just dumping your inventory and getting it all cleared out. And then the next part would be over here is the grabber and the harvester. So I'm going to throw the harvester over here. And what's interesting about the harvester is you can actually... Okay, and now it just vanished. That was weird. So, as you can see, we have a little grabber here. And oh, well, that explains where everything went, including the foraging table that I lost beforehand, off camera. Haha. Anyway, yeah. So the grabber, all it does is, well, it just grabs items on the ground. And you'd probably want to use it in combination with the harvester. So we'll set up what I had previously. Little cottonseed, and with the magic of admin, we can skip some time. There we go. Bang! And there it is. So nice, quick, and easy. And of course, you can always hook it up to your item network, like so. And then, bam, it's just cleared out and sent into storage. Or you could do something else with it, that kind of thing. But you get the drift. And this guy just automatically harvests anything. Of course, all of this stuff may change, but right now the grabbers operate in a 5 radius from themselves, and it's on their level. So it's like a little circle around it, I believe. And what's interesting is that the foraging table, the lowest end version, does not have the highest end grabber. And the power station over there has all of them. So just a simple way to grab them. I think the harvesting table is the easiest one, because if you're using your harvesting stuff, you'll probably want to make a hoe anyway, so you'll have this set up. Anyway, this covers pretty much what I wanted to cover. Yeah. The advanced stuff you might want to do, you could do that on your own. Pretty easy, just have to set up the locations for the routers to pull the stuff from and send the stuff to and all that stuff. So it's really just up to trial and error. So yeah. Hope to see you again, and have a good whatever it is at your location. Bye-bye.